All right, says I'm live. You guys can hear me. Please let me know. We will get this started. I see the jokes already, so appreciate y'all being here. Over 100 waiting. Sorry to leave you waiting, but we're here. That's all that matters. Appreciate y'all being here and looking forward to this race at Martinsville. Love short flat tracks and love Martinsville. I'm not sure it'll be the most exciting race, but I think we're in store for a decent one. So. And this is a very interesting slate. Many ways we can go. We have a nice mixture of place differential. We have some interesting characters at the front of the field that we probably didn't expect to see. And we have some pretty good cars scattered throughout the field. So definitely going to be fun. Got my loud and clear from Andre. Appreciate the probably chroming his hair. Andy wishes I combed my hair. Always gets me every single week with that. Let me scroll to the top here and see what is up. What's up, Cliff? Second to last man for season long. Who do you have finishing the furthest back out of Suarez, Briscoe, Bubba, and Logano? Also, if you're just not getting here, you can leave a like on the stream. Something small, but does go a long way. But finishing the furthest back out of those four, I believe I have it as Briscoe. I'm pretty sure. Let me check that, though. It's going to be close. So, yeah, I got Suarez, Briscoe, Bubba all in a line. So, it's actually Bubba, but... So I guess Bubba would be my answer there. What's up, Jay Smokes? Another weekend to get that money. I'm torn between Truex and Harvick because track position is so important, but there's so many PD guys' thoughts. Good luck this weekend, bro. Appreciate that, Jay Smokes. If I had to pick between Harvick and, who is it, Hamlin or Truex? Oh, between Truex. It's very close. I have Harvick just a little bit higher. Showed more speed in practice, and they were in the same group. And Harvick just was faster. So I would go with Harvick there, but both are fine options today. And obviously other guys too, like Hamlin, Suarez, Byron. I also think Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott could be factors. So many options today. I'm right there with you. There's a lot of options. I have about 12 drivers projected over 50 fantasy points. And that's just because I didn't give William Byron a 100-point projection today like I'd wanted to. I have him capped out at 70. But, you know, if William Byron goes nuts, like I'm sure a lot of us are expecting, we're not going to see that many drivers get over 50 points today that are that expensive. Just because he's going to soak up all the dominator points. But I'm a little bit conservative with those projections, so definitely lots of choices up top this weekend. What's up, Mass? Always love having you here. What's up, Conscious? Says vroom vroom, you know it. Bob says, hey, Chris, any decent place to win outright? Thanks. So earlier in the week, me and my buddy Sean in Discord, we took a unit and a half on William Byron to win at plus 650 over at Caesars. That's now down to plus 400, which in my model does not show any value anymore. It's actually significant negative leverage there. So I feel good about the plus 650, but I would not bet Byron at plus 400. But the only value I have right now is like Kevin Harvick, and we're talking like a 0.5% value. And then Martin Truex Jr. is just under 1%. So Truex and Harvick are the only ones for me right now still showing some value in the betting market. Outside of that, everything kind of seems priced out a bit. Got a donut from a man spread. Appreciate that. Says, any Zane Smith boss? Go Blaney. Hey, I'm hoping for Blaney today. If he can't get right at Martinsville, well, I'm just not sure it's ever going to happen this year. Maybe outside of another short flat track. But this is a great track for him. Zane Smith, not really someone I have a ton of interest in. I know the practice speeds are going to look pretty good, but you got to keep in mind he was in that group that just had much faster track and have a hard time seeing a Rick Ware car being that fast during the race. He's starting in 33rd, which probably going to be similar to where he runs. Now, he's a better driver than Cody Ware. I'll give him that. So I think he could probably run better than Cody Ware would. But at the same time, starting in 33rd, he's $100 more expensive than Burton. I'd rather just take Burton at that point. And so I don't really see myself getting that much as Zane Smith. What's up, Rick? Says finally a good old asphalt short track. You know it. No, we got a good amount of practice yesterday, although practice kind of got skewed, which sucks. We can't have a perfect world, but we'll make do. Steven says, hate having so many PD plays. Seems like such a trap on such a short track on a short course. So how do we differentiate in big GPPs? Yeah, it's definitely kind of not fun having all these place differential plays like Ross Chastain, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Bowman, Keselowski, Bell. You know, they're all going to pop in optimizers, but at a short track, it's just kind of scary because you can get stuck a lap down if you're not extremely fast or you just get stuck behind someone early on. So that's the concerns. Now, I'm not playing Ryan Blaney or Ross Chastain to dominate. You're just playing them to grab a good finish and gain spots, which Ross Chastain showed he could do that last year. I believe he started in the mid to late 20s last year and got a top 5 finish. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but the way to get different is just pivot off of these guys. Like for Ryan Blaney, you could pivot to a guy like Kyle Busch. You could pivot to a Joey Logano. Or like if you want to get away from Chase Elliott, you play Tyler Reddick, who's sandwiched right in between all four of these or all three of these place differential plays. So I'm fine with playing them, but playing them both together, that's when you're going to eat up a lot of ownership. So I don't mind getting to some of these pivots. Like instead of playing Blaney, you could play Logano, who starts half the field higher up, but he also has a better chance to dominate and get a top 5 than I would say Ryan Blaney does today. What's up, Tito? Let's make some money. Also, Truex to log out. I'm not anti-Truex today, Tito, so I'll root for him with you. But I definitely think he's going to have the lowest, well, either the lowest or second lowest ownership in the 10K range. I think him and Christopher Bell probably be the lowest, but with Bell having place differential upside, I feel like it might get a little higher, but people might be just afraid of the practice speeds. Dom groups, yeah, you definitely want Dom groups today. The guys I would throw in would be William Byron, just going from top to bottom here. William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Logano, Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick, Ryan Preece. And if you want to throw in those other cheap guys like Suarez, Briscoe, and Almirola, you can. And I would set that to at least 2 per lineup. Because you don't want to get stuck with a lineup that has like Logano, Blaney, and Elliott, which, yeah, it looks good. But at the same time, you're not getting any stage 1 dominator points, which you're going to want a stage 1 dom. Assuming they finish the race well and don't wreck out at some point. What's up, man? Favorite to win, favorite dominator, most confident PD driver, DK, of course. So favorite to win for me is William Byron. I mean, he's just checks every single box for me this week. It's hard to argue against it. Favorite dominator, again, would be William Byron. And most confident place differential driver, probably just Ross Chastain, starting in 34th. I believe I have him as my number 1 mover on this slate. Let me check my rankings again. It's either him or Ryan Blaney. PD ranks. Yeah, I got Ross in first, and then Blaney in second, Elliott in third, as far as the biggest movers on this slate. Good morning, Grade A. Good morning, Steven. Says thoughts on William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick, Buescher, Keselowski, and Michael McDowell as a GPP lineup. Trying not to spend up on big name PD guys that'll be chalk. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad lineup whatsoever. So you have 3 potential dominators with William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Kevin Harvick. Buescher's interesting starting in 10th. I think RFK will have speed. You have Keselowski paired with them because if one's fast, the other one will probably be fast as well. And then McDowell, who actually, I feel like I was talking down on him in my video, but then I kind of talked myself out of it, which I'm glad I did because once I ran the projections and stuff, Michael McDowell actually did pop a little bit for me, and he did show some positive leverage in the Sims. So I think that's a pretty solid tournament lineup for sure. Mr. Handsome still getting his hair, hair and makeup department got backed up today. You know how it is. Cody says, I'm winning today. I hope so, Cody. I hope so. What's up, Dave? Says, let's make some money. I need 2 drivers, 5,900 and under for some DraftKings tournaments. Who you like in that range? 5,900 and under. Let me check the price tags out specifically. So we have Zane Smith, Burton, Gillen, Gregson, Dylan LaJoy. My 2 favorite in that range are going to be Harrison Burton and Corey LaJoy. If you needed a third one, I would say Noah Gregson, but the 2 I like are Burton and LaJoy. Michael says, I wish I could show up to work like Chris does. I'm sorry, Michael. I was up till like 3:30 last night writing the article and the projections. So I was a little bit tired today, but I apologize for being late. Steven says, somebody going to finish multiple laps down? For sure. For sure. And if you're playing a cheap driver, don't worry about them too much being laps down because you just, like Harrison Burton's going to be laps down today. But if he can finish like 25th at $5,700 running 32nd, that's not bad. What's up? Step LeBlanc says, hi, Chris. What are your thoughts on attrition? How many cars will cross the finish line? I'm assuming most of them will. I don't really think we're going to have like a wreck fest or anything. Wonder if I can see what kind of carnage we had last year. I mean, I'm not expecting anything crazy to happen. So if we look at the first Martinsville race last year when William Byron won, we had 1 car have an issue, and that was BJ McLeod, which that's a given almost. So first race, just BJ. Second Martinsville race, we had 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 5 cars, which were, besides Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon, just junkers, Ty Dillon, Castle, and BJ McLeod. So, I mean, I don't think it's anything to worry about. And was that the race Bratislawski got DQ'd? Because it has him finishing dead last year, but he finished all 500. I'm pretty sure he got DQ'd in that race. Dustin says top 2 tournament plays. Well, as far as dominators are concerned, I don't think Hamlin and Logano are going to get the ownership they deserve, and they could certainly make some noise for like stage 2-ish to dominate. So I don't mind them in tournaments. I also think guys like Bubba Wallace, Alex Bowman look pretty good for tournaments. What's up, Clint? Nice to be here, and good luck on the puppy today. I know you said you're going to get one. Appreciate that, Michael. Hopefully you do as well. Justin says we got to work on your tardiness. This will never fly in the working world. You got to cut me some slack. Sorry, Geb, I just saw the dono. It says shout out to Mrs. Geb. Shout out Mrs. Geb. We miss you in the Discord. Hopefully, Geb will let us see you again soon. Just kidding. What's up, Spread? Will says, who's going to Talladega? I wish I was going to Talladega. It sounds like a really fun one to go to, which is next week, right? Talladega's next week, so yeah, we have a nice stretch of races here. What's up, Mundos? Give me the fist. What's up, Carmi? Sir Pico says, am I playing LaJoy ride in cash again? Need a cheap cash dumpster? I'm okay with LaJoy in cash. The guy's just been really good at holding position, if not like gaining a spot or two. And starting in 27th at $5,000, I mean, LaJoy could get a top 25 today. I don't think anyone would be overly surprised. So yeah, LaJoy's totally fine in cash if you need him to make things fit. Got a donor from Man Jorge, do appreciate that. It says, favorite racers below 7,500 and which racers would you be avoiding? So below 7,500, my highest projected guys, we have Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola in that order. The ones I would be avoiding under $7,500, I'm probably not playing any Eric Jones. I know he's got PD upside, but he just sucks. Don't think I'm gonna have a lot of Ricky, a lot of Zane. So I mean, I'm not really avoiding a lot of these guys, but don't really think I'll get to the ones I mentioned just now. But do appreciate the dono, Jorge. Thoughts on Gregson today? I'm okay with him. He doesn't grade out as well as Burton or Corey LaJoy for me, but starting all the way back in 29th, if he could just hold a spot, it's not the worst thing. But man, Legacy just has no speed is the problem. So hard to trust him. RaceFan22 says, Byron, Harvick, Slowski, Truex, Bubba need a last man in with only $5,700. I would flip a coin on Burton and LaJoy. That's what I would do. But I think my projections have Burton just a couple points higher, but it's pretty interchangeable. Napalm says, when's the raffle? We'll do the raffle at the end. I wasn't aware of the raffle, but let me check the show notes. Ben says, good morning, people. Good morning, Ben. Some lovely girlfriends here. Says, good morning, handsome. Happy race day. I'll give you the heart back. Oh, sorry, I was on this. I guess I'm sitting down. I should probably sit up a little bit. Big Gritter says, anything you like on Prize Picks? I do. So Prize Picks, they just don't give the proper amount of dominator points for some of these drivers because they had William Byron. Yeah, they still have it. They have William Byron at 58.5 points. Guys, if you think William Byron is going to contend for the win and dominate, he is going to smash 58.5 points. I'm not saying it's a lock or anything. Don't put everything you got on it, but 58.5 points is pretty low. So that was the most leverage I got on Prize Picks as far as the projections versus their prop. I also had Joey Logano over 43.5. I thought that was a bit low. I mean, I think he's a very similar play to Kyle Busch, and that Busch 4 points higher. And then I also took the under on Chase Briscoe at 34.5, which is still there, which I don't think any of these have changed. So, I mean, look, if Briscoe dominates early on, I'll take the L on the 34.5, but I'm assuming he doesn't. And I believe he has to finish top 7, top 8 for him to get 34.5, which I'm willing to bet that doesn't happen, which the betting market would say that as well. Obviously, if he gets some fast laps, that can get bumped up a bit, but I don't think he's going to have the best car in the field, so just kind of betting on him finishing outside the top 9, top 10. So those are the ones I felt the most comfortable with. Lap sled, I didn't really feel like touching. They have Preece right at my projection at 38.5, basically. That might be like a couple lower. But yeah, those are the ones that stood out to me. I mean, all my projections are higher on these dominators because they just don't really factor it in much. Like they only have Truex at 42.5. Again, if he leads some laps today, he's going to outscore that. So something to keep in mind. But I thought the Byron was way too low because if Byron does Byron things at short flat tracks, he should blow 58.5 out. Because of my projections, I gave him like a 4th-ish place finish, which is winning in mine. And then I also gave him around, was it like, let me check. How many laps? I gave Byron 66 laps led and 40 fast laps. So just on dominator points alone, that's 28. Then the placement points are 42. Do the math, that's around 70.5 points. And I think that's kind of conservative. I mean, Byron could easily lead over 60 more laps today if his car's as fast as it has been. Appreciate that, Tito. Yeah, leaving a like goes a long way. John says, is it possible Kevin Harvick can win this race? Yeah, it's definitely possible. Certainly is. We know how good he is at short flats. I know Martinsville is not really his forte, but I mean, he had a really good car in practice. He's good at tire wear, which there was some tire fall off in practice. If you guys were watching and looking at some of his intervals, that weren't too bad compared to others. So yeah, he can definitely win. I gave him, I think, as a top 3 finish right now. Grady says, after being 1.5K to first last week, the 20 max on FanDuel is back to 3K to first. Oh, yeah? I mean, I'm in that. I didn't even realize that, though, so that's great. It's kind of weird how it went up. Oh, well, I guess the Masters was last week, wasn't it? So maybe that's why I got nuked a bit. But, oh, good to know. I wasn't even looking at that. I just entered no matter what. Michael says, what's your Dom group today? I'm behind on the chat, so I think I answered that. So hopefully I answered your question. But it's basically the guys you'd expect, and now I'd have it at least 2. Thoughts on Bell? So I thought I was going to be pretty high on Bell heading into this race. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, I don't have him projected super bad. We're talking 43 placement points and about 8.5 dominator points. Thing is, though, stacked up to these other guys at his price point, that's just not going to pop him up in the optimal too often. Because a guy like, Kyle Busch has similar upside, but he's almost $1,000 cheaper. Ross Chastain starts 34th. He's like $2,000 cheaper. Logano, same boat. They're all just cheaper than Bell, and they have similar, if not better, upside. So it's just having my projections are having a hard time getting Bell in the optimal too often. So I'm ending up pretty low on him. And I can't be high on all these guys. Like, sure, Bell looked good on paper, but I mean, someone's just got to get filtered out, and Bell's that guy right now. Which I love Bell, so hopefully I don't get, not like this week, but in general, so hopefully I don't get death by Bell this weekend. I'm just viewing him as the more expensive version of Chase Elliott with a slower car. Got a dono from Man 8 Game. Thanks for putting out your YouTube content. Always watching, use your advice for success. Appreciate that, sir. I think it's the first time I've seen you around here, so thank you very much. Can Todd G stay in the top 20? I mean, he can. Am I projecting it? No. Does the betting market have it that way? Also, no. So I don't really think he's going to stay in the top 20. It's just the car wasn't that great in practice. I know he qualified well, but 27th, 28th, 33rd, 33rd. So, I mean, I'd just rather play like a Burton, personally. Rather play Corey LaJoie. I mean, Ty Dillon was great last week. So that was nice, but I'm not really sure it'll happen again. But he's been good. He's been good. See, my mom's here. Says, good morning, bud. Can't wait to watch it live. I'm working. Oh, that's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. But happy race day, NASCAR family. Go Joey. Yeah, I'm with you on Joey today. I hope he does well. I'm hoping the ownership's a little bit lower than what it should be. Thank you for stopping by. Travis says, we'll be playing many lineups with no doms from this weird starting top 5. Well, you have to have doms, but I mean, dominators can come from guys like Truex, Byron, that are starting like 5th, 8th, Harvick, Reddick, starting like that 5 to 10 range is actually, or 5 to like 11 range is a pretty good spot for dominators, so they'll be viewed as doms today. DC says, need to get lineups in, can't take my eyes off RBC 10 points from the 50. With RBC, is that golf? RBC sounds like golf. Let me see. Google tells me it's a bank in Canada, but I'm assuming that's not what you're talking about. Okay, there's some golf stuff, so. Okay, I guess I was right there. Well, best of luck, sir. Sounds like you're pretty close. C. Meyer says, let's go Browns, you know it. You know, they're disappointing, but we support them, unfortunately. Liker says, bad lineup. Reddick, Keselowski, Suarez, LaJoie, Elliott, Byron. Oh, it's an interesting lineup. So you have Reddick and Byron as dominators. Potentially Suarez, which that's the first Suarez question I've got. Then you have, look, if Suarez gets the lead at the beginning instead of Priest, I mean, you're going to have massive leverage there. And Keselowski, like, it's not a bad lineup. I mean, it could definitely work out. You're just really banking on Suarez getting some fast laps or some laps led early on. Because if he doesn't, I mean, he's definitely going to fall back. Thoughts on Almirola? Not a huge fan. He's starting in third. I love him at short flat tracks. If he was starting anywhere besides the top 5, I'd have interest in Almirola, but there's just no way he doesn't fall back. So I'm having a hard time getting there. Let me check what the Sims had. I think it was pretty low on him. It wasn't 0, though. So Almirola popped in. Yeah, so Almirola optimal percentage for me was around 8.5%. So I think he'll be like low 10s potentially for ownership. So I'm just a little bit under on that. I gave him some dominator upside just in case. Thoughts on Keselowski on DraftKings? I love Keselowski today. I mean, practice speeds weren't there, but again, keep in mind the group he was in and his teammate Chris Buescher was fast. So I'm assuming he's going to be fine. And I mean, Keselowski's excellent at short flats. He's been top 10 green flag speed at both short flat tracks this year. Great at Martinsville in his career. So yeah, I'm definitely fine with Keselowski. I think he's one of the better tournament plays. I'm not saying he's going to be under-owned, like super low owned, but I do think he'll be low owned enough to where you can be overweight on if you're getting like the 30s in ownership. Because I mean, if you swap the practice speeds, if Keselowski was in Group 1 and he had those practice speeds that Buescher had, I mean, and he's starting 21st, he would be, I think the ownership would definitely be higher. Thoughts on Haley? Not super high on Haley. Like, I don't think he's the worst play in the world, but I do prefer Michael McDowell a little bit more. What's up? Last spot, Buescher or Keselowski for GPP. I would go with Keselowski. I mean, similar finishing position upside in my opinion, but you get 11 extra spots with Kes. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, yeah. But Spencer says, thoughts on Austin Dillon, third last year, need a safe place, 7,500 and under. Yeah, not in love with Austin Dillon. He was in that second group for practice, but still just extremely slow. And Kyle Busch hasn't been that fast at the short flat tracks this year either, so I'm not sure if it'll be an RCR problem or not. But 7,500 and under, I mean, Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace are my two favorite. Good morning, Steve. Says Bubba or Priest for cash. I think Priest will have the cash ownership because, you know, Priest leads, let's say 35, 40 laps until like a guy like Truex or Harvick, Reddick, Byron, whoever it may be, gets to him. If Priest can finish like 10th to 12th with those like 30, 40 laps and some fast laps mixed in, like if we give him like 25% of the fast laps for the laps he leads, it's not a bad day at $7,400. It's a decent cushion. If Priest somehow happens to lead like almost the majority of stage 1, I mean, you're going to need him in your lineups at that point at $7,400. I'll go with Priest there. I think I'll have the ownership. Bubba's a great tournament play today, though. Eric says, need at least 3 Hendrick cars. I mean, you don't need it, but you can certainly do it easily. I mean, you can play Byron, Elliott, and Bowman together. Pretty easy. How about Stenhouse? Assuming it's just Stenhouse. I don't know if it was a joke. But and not huge on Stenhouse. He just sucks at short flat tracks, and he was super slow in practice. So I'd rather play McDowell. Do you got any potential? I don't think this would be the worst track for him, and he showed speed in practice, obviously. But I mean, he was in that first group, which I guess their numbers can be a bit inflated. But I mean, I like Dinger more than I like Eric Jones. I think I like him more than Austin Cindric. Kind of similar to Ty Gibbs, really. Briscoe or Bowman for GPP? I would go with Bowman. Briscoe just has a lot of downsides starting in 4th, and I mean, Bowman should be pretty good in this race. I mean, it's just hard not to trust the Hendrick car. John says, Byron, Chastain, Harvick, Priest, LaJoie, Blaney, okay for cash? Yeah, totally. It's totally fine for cash. I'm actually kind of surprised that fits, but yeah, go for it. pretty solid. I don't really think you're even missing anyone super important. I mean, Byron, I think you're going to want him in cash games. You want Chastain, you want Harvick. Priest, I mean, the ownership will be there, and if he can dominate a little bit, you're fine. LaJoy, cheap play. Yeah, that's pretty good. Kind of dono from... Oh, sorry. I just saw the dono from DL. I don't know why that disappeared. He said Suarez or Almirola for cash. Yeah, the 2 cash locks of the slate. Suarez or Almirola. I know DL is trolling me, though. Sorry for just seeing that as well, but thanks for the dono. You got a dono from me and Doug as well. As always, appreciate the content and the site, Chris. Thank you, Doug. Thoughts on Byron, Chastain, Harvick, Blaney, Priest, and LaJoy for cash? I think that's the exact lineup that other guy said, right? Yeah, so that might be the popular cash lineup today. I wonder, is that my projection optimal? I think it's close. It might not be quite there. I think Elliott kind of might pop in. Yeah, so Elliott pops in mine, but that lineup you guys are referencing right now to me, that's my 3rd highest projected, and it's my highest projected ownership one as well. And it leaves 100 on the table. So yeah, I could see that being very popular in cash today. Byron, Blaney, Chastain, Harvick, Priest, LaJoy, because you're getting the main 4. I mean, you want Byron in cash, you want Blaney, Chastain. I think Harvick will be very popular, so I don't mind that at all. Sorry, I lost my spot. Where am I at? Oh, okay, here we go. Let's see. Steven says, where do you have Suarez finishing and what will his ownership be? So I have Suarez finishing around, I believe it's around 12th-ish. Yeah, I gave him a 12.48. Ownership will be pretty low. I think I had him at... Sorry, my thing spazzed out. All right, Suarez is... I have him under 10% ownership, which my projections hate him. But yeah, I gave him around 12th-ish, but I don't really think it'll be a threat to dominate much. Or McDowell. Oh, how about Santos or McDowell? Yeah, I'd definitely go McDowell there. Grady says, playing FanDuel today, Chris? Yeah, always. I love FanDuel. I mean, the contests seem a little bit softer over there, and I've had a lot of fun playing on FanDuel this year. Got lucky last week in single entry over there. I got first in the 50. Just didn't have Larson, or there was another popular guy that had an issue. I got lucky not having I had like Briscoe, Stenhouse, Hamlin, Suarez, which they were so high on that it didn't matter that they sucked. And then I also had, I don't remember who the other one was. He did okay though. I forget though. Reddick. That's who it was. Michael says, Byron on underdog 4.0 and 51.5 lap sled. Do you like either? I mean, if I had to take the lap sled prop, I would take the over. If that's a price picks question, I think his fantasy point prop's a little bit better. But yeah, I would take the over at 51.5. 4.0, it's kind of tough there. I mean, in theory, yes, I would take the under. My projections have him at a 4.28 though. But I'm conservative again. But he is my projected winner, so I don't mind it. AB says, how many laps would Priest have to lead to pay off in tourneys? So I gave Priest in my projections. Where's he at? Okay, so I gave Priest an 11.85 projected finish. I gave him 35.6 laps led, 21.xx fast laps. That equates to just about an 18.25 dominator points. I gave him around 20 placement points. That's about 38.5 points there. And with him getting a 38.5 points, the Sims have that at a 32.6% optimal rate. So about a third of the time if he hits that criteria. Obviously, if he does not hit that criteria, it'll be less. If he goes over that, it'll be more. JJ says dirt sucks. Yeah, I miss regular Bristol. The racing was good at the end. I'll give him that. But a little bit of a clown show. DS3 says, good morning. What's up, sir? My DFS team today is Blaney, Byron, Elliott, LaJoy, Priest, and Suarez. Good luck today. Contrarian there with Suarez, but I hope it works out for you. Looks good. Oh yeah, if you want to join the DraftKings contest, I'm horrible at promoting that, but spread out the link there if you guys want to get in. Michael says, 3 in, 3 out. Let me get your 3 must plays for 20 max and 3 drivers to leave out of the crunch. 3 must plays for me, I would say Byron. Starter, I think he just dominates this race. I love Ross Chastain there. I like Kevin Harvick. And 3 guys to put out of the crunch. Oh boy. Probably not going to have much Suarez. Not going to have much. I wouldn't have any Eric Jones for cheap. And Bell was getting close because of the price. But I don't know if I'd completely X him out. What's up, Eric? Says he pens the GOAT. You as well, Eric. What's the maximum number of drivers starting the top 10 you'd put in one line? Ooh, I'm not sure what I'd have for the maximum. Let's look at the qualifying order here and see what I'd feel comfortable with. So let's just start with Priest. Let's say we have Priest in the lineup. I think you could play Reddick and Harvick as well. I'm probably not going to put Byron in that lineup. So I'd say 3. Feels okay. You could maybe stretch that to 4. But if you have 4 in the top 10, I would try to find some place differential to balance that out a little bit. But I would say 2 to 3 is a healthy number. 4 is viable, but you might be pushing it a bit. What's up, Anthony from Fort Myers, Florida? My neighbor says, I'm showing way too much Hamlin today. What are your thoughts? Also, any chance Elliott makes an amazing comeback? I like Hamlin today. It sounds like he likes his car. He says he thinks it's better than what he qualified, and he was in that second group, so practice times, it's kind of hard to put too much into it, although it was one of the better cars in his group behind Byron, Bubba, Larson, Almirola, Logano, but still wasn't too bad. So, and this is obviously a great track for Denny. And, I mean, he did say he was going to get white hot in his podcast. So let's see if he's a liar or not. And any chance that he makes an amazing comeback? I mean, he didn't look bad in practice. I know he kind of got close to the wall a couple of times, but this is a great track for Chase Elliott, and I don't think they'd bring him back if it was a huge concern for him that he wouldn't be all right. Because, I mean, Josh Berry was doing fine. So, yeah, I like Chase. I know he was in the first group, but practice-wise, he wasn't bad. So, yeah, I think Chase will be fine. And, I mean, betting-wise, Vegas doesn't have much concern. He's plus 1,000 with Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, those kind of guys. Davis says, hit the like button, everyone. I would appreciate that. Well, appreciate that, 8 game. Appreciate that. Thank you very much for being here. Kenny G says, we're focusing on more place differential plays or DOMs. I mean, a mixture of both, but dominators do take the most importance here in Martinsville. We have 400 laps. Track positions usually pretty important. Johnny says, thoughts on Larson? Kind of in a weird spot in this race. I do like Larson more than I like Bell. I think the car's a bit faster, and Hendrick has just been really hard to beat this year. Martinsville is definitely not Cal Larson's best track. I don't think he's going to dominate today. That's why I'm not getting to him as much. I'd rather play William Byron. I think he's got a much better chance to dominate. I think Truex has a better chance to dominate. Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. He's at a complete fade for me. I have him off going around like 15-ish%. So, but it's not something I feel super comfortable with. If playing single entry, I'm not going to get to Larson. S3 says, I've lost 2 straight weeks to my co-host for our weekly competition. If she beats me 3 straight, she gets to shave my head. I'm leaning very heavy on your advice today. Well, let's not get your head shaved, please. Please. We don't need that. Can Priest and Almirola both hit 5x? You're pushing it. So I got Priest predicted for 5.21x. I have Almirola at 4.06. You need Priest to lead laps, and you'd need Eric Almirola to probably lead some laps and get some fast laps here and there. Obviously, the chances of both that happening are pretty unlikely. Because by the time they both lead laps, I mean, I would assume a guy like a Truex, a Harvick, a Reddick, William Byron would just take the lead at that point before they both dominate. What percent of GPP lineups did you play someone in the top 5? So the top 5 is kind of gross. Ryan Preece is in the poll, and then you have Martin Truex. Those are the viable guys in the top 5, in my opinion. I wouldn't really say there's a set percentage you need them to be at. I mean, I got Preece up more around 30-ish% of the time. Truex lower because of the price point, but I'd say anywhere from 10 to 20% on Truex. Dirty Hippie says, thoughts on Reddick? Got him at plus 2,800 to win early in the week. You know, it's funny, I would have said that was probably a poor bet based off of Reddick's track history at Martinsville. But after what we saw in practice yesterday, he looked pretty good. And that's obviously now down to, plus 900, I think. I think it was plus 900 when I looked, although the lines did change. So, okay, well, I checked DraftKings just now, and they don't have the winning odds. So let me see what FanDuel has. Okay, they got theirs. Yeah, Reddick's plus 900, Harvick plus 950, which Harvick was what, plus 2,000 earlier in the week. So if you got on those two, which I did have value on Harvick heading into the week, I just didn't take it because I didn't love him in Martinsville, and I'm wishing I did. But I mean, I'd feel really good about 2,800 to 1 on Tyler Reddick for sure. Spico says Byron Harvick or Hamlin Reddick for cash. Byron Harvick will be a lot higher on for cash. I'd rather go that route. Any Gibbs? I'm assuming you just mean Ty Gibbs, not the Gibbs cars in general. Ty Gibbs, not awful. I mean, he's been a top 10 machine, I guess now. Optimal rate, have him around like 8-ish%, which is similar to his ownership. So I'm about even on him. DL says, any Arby's fans in here? I think DL has indoctrinated my Discord with Arby's over the past couple of days. Gonna have to slow him down. Brian says, what do you think about Byron, Truex, Chastain, Harvick, and LaJoy? That can work. I mean, you have 3 Doms in Harvick, Byron, and Truex. As though, is this a FanDuel lineup? Because I'm only seeing 5 drivers. I personally don't like playing scrubs on FanDuel. It just never seems worth it to me. Because like on FanDuel today, let me just pop the site up really quick. I just don't really think you need to go down that low. Because if I build a lineup right now, let's start with Chase Elliott. He's 11.8. This is really cheap. Let's plug in Ryan Blaney at 11K. And the roster construction on FanDuel is different because dominator points aren't as important. So I think, I still like William Byron on FanDuel, but he's a much better play over on DraftKings. Let's play Chastain. He's only 10K. You can play Reddick at $8,200 and Kevin Harvick, which that leaves $0 on the table. So I can play a lineup on FanDuel with Elliott, Blaney, Chastain, Reddick, and Harvick. And that feels pretty good. And my lowest price driver is Reddick, so I really don't think you need to go down that low. Unless you're not talking about FanDuel at all, then I'm sorry for wasting your time. But I only saw 5 drivers. Tuck says they have the meats. They sure do. Tyler says, how did Chastain end up in the back? He was running well early in the quals. So I don't remember exactly what happened, but he screwed something up. I was out of the room during that one, and then I ended up seeing Ross as like dead last. I'm like, well, I must have missed something. It was just probably a bad lap because he was not bad in practice. It's not like he's the slowest car in the field or anything. Oh, gotcha, sir. Ryan says, hey, Chris, what's up? What's up, Ryan? Who are the most likely lap leaders today? The first 80 laps must play dominators and lowest salary must play scrubs. Thanks. So most likely lap leaders from the first 80 laps. I mean, you're looking at Ryan Preece, then Truex, Byron, Harvick, Reddick, those kind of guys. I mean, there's an outside shot for like Briscoe, Almirola, and Suarez, but I don't think it's super likely. And must play dominators. I mean, kind of the guys I just mentioned. And lowest salary must play scrub. That would be Corey LaJoy from me. Gregson thoughts. Not anti-Gregson today, but I'd prefer Burton and Corey LaJoy a little bit more. Just legacy sucks. What was 9th in the 1 lap in practice and 11th in the 5 lap, but not really buying it. Kabe Buwanowski, I think I said that right, says, what do you think about this team for a single entry: William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick, Todd Gilliland, Corey LaJoie, with 700 salary remaining. I think I would try to upgrade Gilliland, because I think if you upgraded Gilliland to Michael McDowell, right, math-wise, that works. So if you would have told me like Hamlin, Byron, Blaney, Harvick, Michael McDowell, Corey LaJoie, I think that would sound pretty good. So, I mean, if you want to play Todd Gilliland, sure, go for it, I guess. But I feel more comfortable with Michael McDowell there. Oh, I got you, Travis. No worries. Scared to play Ryan Preece or Suarez, knowing they can drop 15, 20 spots. They certainly can. I'm not very high on Suarez. Preece, look, if he leads half of stage 1, we're sitting pretty. Assuming he doesn't screw up his race at some point, because he could still finish like 12th. And we're talking like in the 30s for points, which isn't terrible at only $7,400. It's not like we need like 60 at a Preece to work out, Bull says, time to make that bread. Let's get it, boys. Let's do it, Bull. Let's do it. Nice for you to be here. Zach says, would you rather have Bowman or Harvick? Harvick has more of a ceiling, in my opinion, with Dominator upside. So if it's GPPs, even cash, I would probably just say Harvick. Noah says, what are your thoughts on Preece? Will you have a ton of Downer points? I'm worried about him starting at the top. Yeah, that's the concern. That is the concern. But probably already answered this for you. But like I said, if he leads like close to half of stage 1 and finishes in the top 12, assuming he gets some fast laps, that's not bad. And plus, I mean, seeing a bad kind of track for Preece, and if you guys remember the Clash, I'm not really sure how many conclusions we can draw from the Clash, but he was pretty fast there. This is a pro Arby's chat. Yeah, I don't know about that. Roshan says, I was top 3 last week, was sitting good, then Kyle Larson with that bad no tire call. Yeah, that was interesting. I'm not really exactly sure why he did that. And obviously Ryan Preece found him and took care of the business he thought he had to take care of. No problem, Hockey. Ask any question you want. SS Jackson says, is playing only one Dominator and cash a bad idea? Well, I'm assuming it's just Byron. I mean, it's not the worst thing you can do. Although I do think people will play like Preece with Byron, so you can kind of lock up like an early Dom and then you have Byron. But I also think a lot of people might go 3 with like Preece, Harvick, and Byron. So 1 might not be enough, but I'd be kind of curious to who you have in your lineup. But you have to make sure you nail that Dominator if you're only going to play 1. Hockey says, just got here, so probably touched on this. How many Doms and lineups today? At least 2. At least 2. But very easy to get 3 here. Dirt race was at least good racing. The clown show was Friday's truck race. Yeah, the dirt, it was good at times. The spinning was annoying, but Michael McDowell was just getting bored and started doing 360s out of nowhere. But the racing, I believe it was at the end of stage 2 was really good, and then at the end, that was really good as well. 8 says, my dad dirt race tracks throughout the 90s. The dirt holds a special place in my heart. Well, that's awesome. I mean, if that was the case, yeah, I'm sure it does for sure. I just wish they wouldn't throw dirt on Bristol. It's such a good track. Let's do it somewhere else. Although I'm hoping we don't have a dirt race next year. I mean, I've not kept up with the news, but I was listening to DBC, and I think they said they didn't announce new ticket sales for next year yet, so maybe we're going to kill it off. What's up, Nicholas? My bad if you've already talked about him, but any thoughts on Haley this week? Practice speeds look good, LaJoie. But, like, Haley's not the worst guy out there, but also keep in mind he was in that first group that just had more speed overall. So I'm not exactly sure he'll be the fastest car out there, but he should be able to gain a couple of spots, but that's probably about all I can say about Preece. Which lone drivers do you like today as contrarian plays? Like up top, I think Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano were good pivots off of some of these chalkier Dominators. You could even throw Martin Truex Jr. in the mix there. Bubba Wallace, not bad for tournaments as well. Michael McDowell, shouldn't get a ton of ownership. One of my thoughts on Gibbs, you just basically need him to hold his ground, which, look, he's been a top 10 machine recently. He's kind of just in a tough spot, though. I prefer Bubba Wallace, just much faster car, it looks like, but I don't think Ty Gibbs is the worst play. I think I'd rather play Ty Gibbs over Austin Cindric. I think it's close. I would say he's a very similar play to Dinger. What's up, Dakota? Going well. What are your opinions on Cash Core? Place differential or lap sled? Really having a hard time deciding what way to go. Well, you can play both easily. You can easily play both. I mean, you can play Byron and Harvick together with a guy like Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney quite easily, to be honest. So, I mean, I would try for both. Keith says, do you like better today, Truex or Reddick for tournaments? It's a tough question there. I have Reddick projected a little bit higher, but Truex is not going to have, I don't think he'll have near the ownership as Tyler Reddick. So if you're just looking for the lower own play, it would be Truex. I have them within a point of each other. I have like 6 or 7 drivers within 52 to 54 points, and those two do fall in the same category. So Truex will definitely be lower owned. What's up, Pugsley? Says he went Byron, Elliott, Blaney, Busher, Priest, and LaJoie. Is that a good lineup for tourneys, or should I move Blaney out for someone like Reddick or Busch? Well, you got 2 guys up front like Byron and Priest. I don't think that's bad. I don't think it's bad. But, I mean, if you take Blaney out, you definitely get more contrarian with like a Reddick or Busch. No problem, Dimitri. Thank you for being here. Sarah says, Priest, LaJoie, Harvick, Byron, Chastain, Blaney, single entry GPP question. Look, I love the lineup, but I'll tell you right now, it's going to be very chalky. So you're probably going to be splitting with people. But, like, that's one of my highest predicted lineups. But I've had multiple people send that in here for cash games. So I'll tell you right now, the ownership's going to be high. So just be prepared for that. If you want to try to get off some of the chalk, you could maybe take out one of those drivers or 2 and swap them with some lower owned guys. But in a general sense, I do like it. Priest and cash. I'm okay with Priest and cash. What's up, Triple G's? What's up? Alex says that lineup is extreme chalk but projects well. Yeah, it's basically exactly what I was thinking, Alex. Exactly what I was thinking. That's my 3rd highest projected lineup today. It's hard not to like it. Matt says, how much Byron is too much? Well, if Byron does what Byron typically does with the short flats, there's no such thing as too much. I mean, it's not 100% guaranteed lock that he comes out and dominates, so I would say like 70, 80 might be pushing it. I mean, I could see you getting into the 60s for tournaments if you're trying to get positive leverage, because he'll probably be close to 40% owned. I have him projected in the 30s right now. So you're going to have to up that if you want to be overweight. If you have Priest and 300, are you going up to Keselowski? It totally depends on my roster construction, because if I'm lacking guys up front, I'd throw Priest in. If I already have a bunch of guys up front, I would take Keselowski. So it depends on what the rest of your lineup would be. Pugsley says, Priest is a short track guy. He raced a few hours from here in Connecticut, if I recall, and always dominated the short track circuit. Yeah, he's good at short tracks, and we saw it at the Clash this year. He was fast. Busch or Bowman? Projection-wise, it's going to be Busch for me. I hate that he hasn't had speed at the short flats this year, but he didn't look bad in practice. And he's also fast at the Clash, I guess. Jack says, how bad is this? Byron, LaJoie, Truex, Blaney, and Gilliland. It's only 5, so is that FanDuel? If it's FanDuel, it can't be FanDuel. That'd be so much money left on the table, wouldn't it? You might be missing a driver or something, because if that's FanDuel, no way I'm playing Gilliland and LaJoie together. I wouldn't even play one of them. If it's DraftKings, we're missing a guy, so I'd have to see the rest. Adam says, what's your thoughts on Wallace or Cindric and Cash? If I go Wallace, I can squeeze in Harvick, but if I go Cindric, I can squeeze in Chastain. I'm torn. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Cindric and Cash today. I have Bubba projected better than Austin Cindric. But I also would... That's a tough question there. I mean, I'd want Ross and Cash for sure. So I guess whatever gets you Ross, but... Noah says, I know the course seems to be the same in all the lines people are posting here. Favorite low-owned or contrarian plays. Oh, I think I got you on that one. I'm behind in the chat, so hopefully I would answer that. Yeah, Eric, I mean, he definitely has short track experience, and that's I don't think he's like a dead man walking today up front. I mean, I think he can definitely have some speed to lead some laps early on, of course. What's up, Josh? Nice to see you here. Finally back doing NASCAR. Been a while. Yeah, I remember you stopping by a few times before last year for sure. So nice to have you back. What's up, Tyler? Says who you got today to win? I mean, Byron, but betting wise at plus 400, I don't think I couldn't pull the trigger there. What's up? What's up, Internet Stress? No problem at all. Good morning, Maridon Yeezy. It's always fun saying the name. Try not to mess it up. My thoughts on Larson today. Is he going to be highly owned, you think? I don't think he's going to be super high owned. Just because, I mean, you have Byron up there and you have all these other drivers that are a little bit cheaper at place differential upside. And plus, Martinsville is not his best track ever. I'm okay with like 15-20% Kyle Larson today, but I'm not sure I'd have much more. Ty Gibbs says Bell's a good pivot if Byron doesn't dominate. Well, Byron doesn't dominate. He's dead today anyway, so yeah, he'd definitely be a decent pivot off of him. Yeah, guys, if Byron doesn't lead laps today, it's going to be a bad day owning Byron because he doesn't have the place differential to have a safety net, really. Ryan says, what's the 2-3 core drivers for small field tourneys or cash? I mean, for me, it's like Byron or Ross for cash. Like the first guys I'm plugging in. Haley or McDowell, last one in. I would go with McDowell personally. Mundo says the lineup with all place differential drivers considered optimal for today. Absolutely not. You need dominator points. There's 280 dominator points to go around today. If you neglect those, min cash, maybe. But even then, it might be hard to make cash. So you need at least 2, I think, up front to dominate. Brian says Bell, Harvick, Hamlin, McDowell, Jones, Keselowski. Personally, for me, Brian, I'm not on the Jones train, but everyone else could potentially work in there. Oh, I got you, Jax. Sorry. But yeah, that sounds good then. Matt says I need Todd G. Love, that he can stay top 20. That cheap, despite starting 13, stays in the lead lap. That's the one thing Todd's got going for him is that he's got track position to work with, which might help him stay in the lead lap early on, but I still think he just gets passed. You know, and then even though like a guy like Burton could be a lap down, or LaJoy, you know, if they're like 25th and Gillen lost 6 spots and 21st, I mean, rather, you know, have the other guys. Jones or Allmendinger? I would go with Allmendinger there. Stenhouse a good play today? Not huge on Stenhouse. Busher, I would rather play Busher over a guy like Stenhouse today. Busher at least has speed at these kind of track types. Did I actually catch up to the chat? It's a miracle. Got over 300 people here. Appreciate y'all being here. I usually don't catch up to the chat this quick, which is good news because I got baseball to do, which I'll have to do here shortly. And I got to build some lineups. But if you guys have any more questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer them. I guess we're ahead of schedule today. But looking forward to the race. Should be fun. Just got to hope we nail the DOMs and everything else can be icing. Okay, Thunder says, running 20 lineups. Do you lock Byron? I'd be tempted to lock Byron. I wouldn't lock him, though, because, I mean, in NASCAR, like, there's guys on paper that look so good, and then next thing you know, you get a speeding penalty, or, like with Ryan Blaney, you get a guy that leaves a wrench in the top of the car, and it ruins your race. So there's just too much variance for me to personally have 100% of a guy. But I mean, I wouldn't mind being close to it for Byron. Appreciate the dono. Manny C says, thanks as always, Chris. A small token for your efforts. Hey, appreciate that. Small, big, medium. I don't really care either way. So thank you very much, sir. Any Austin Dillon? He might have filtered in a few. Some scores have AD at very, very low. So I don't really see myself getting too much Dillon. Clint says, hit the like button. Yeah, on the way off, you can hit the like button. We'd appreciate that. We're at 140 likes. If we get that over 150, hopefully that wouldn't be too hard. Bubba or Priest? Priest I projected a little bit higher. Slap the like button. S3 says baseball. I've got Cease and Cole's my SPs today. Have a great race. Good luck, sir. Should be fine with Cole. Like him a lot. Same as Dylan Cease. Good cash day. Doms for cash. I'd say it's a decent cash day. And yeah, you're going to want some dominators for cash. You know, guys like Harvick, Byron are going to project pretty well for cash games. Johnny says, how much salary would you leave on your lineups? I'm eating 1,000. Ooh, I don't think this is the best race to leave a ton of money on the table, although, I mean, that lineup could work. Yeah, but, well, actually, no, I don't think it will work because you don't have any DOMs up front. Matt says, Chris, I appreciate listening every weekend. Every bit helps. Have a great weekend and good luck on your entries. You as well, Matt. Thank you for the kind words. Andrew says, how many DOMs do you think is out? I shouldn't have said fire off all your questions a lot. How many DOMs do you think is optimal? 2 to 3? Yeah, I think 2 to 3 is kind of your sweet spot today. A Bowman, I like him a lot. I mean, he's just the cheapest Hendrick car, so it's hard to ignore him starting in 23rd. You know, he's just the guy that's always contending for top 10s. MLB stuff get updated? I'll be right on it, Bull. I'll be right on it. Mario says 8,100 or less on DraftKings, Suarez, Busher, or Brad. I'll go with Brad there. I like Brad a lot today. Thoughts on Bubba? I think Bubba's one of the better tournament players on the board, Mass. It never feels good, but, I mean, he has speed, and I don't think Martinsville is a terrible track for him. Yep, I'll see you in Discord, Rick. Yeah, if you guys want to join in and get the extra content, you're able to find it. Links down below. How much LaJoy is too much? I think the 30s is a fine range for LaJoy. Ty Dillon over LaJoy in small field GP to get different. I just can't trust Ty Dillon's car. I mean, I know they're in similar equipment, but just Ty Dillon's having a rough year of it so far. So I personally prefer Corey LaJoy. Suarez and Chastain in the same lineup? You can. Just Suarez is in a tough spot today, starting second. You got to get him out front. Grady Flick says 3 hours to lock. Good luck, y'all. Got about 14 lineups left in the 20 max to build. Yeah, you got plenty of time to do it, so best of luck on those. Hopefully they go well. You as well, Flights Demon. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Smart says you playing Byron and Harvick together on DraftKings. Yeah, I think that's totally fine to do. The thing is, Harvick's price is so low. Like, if Harvick's 10K, it's a different story. But 8,400 today, I mean, you don't even necessarily have to have him dominate. I mean, if he just hangs around the top 5 all day and picks up fast laps, it's not a terrible day at that price point. So yeah, I'm totally fine with that. I actually think it's okay in cash too. How many Rex will be there today? Or will there be today? I don't really think much. I mean, we looked last year at the DNFs. I think there was one guy, and that was, what, BJ McLeod last year? I think, for the spring race. No problem, sir. Thank you for being here. Truex, Larson, or Bell to fill out the lineup with 2 DOMs already. If I already got 2 DOMs, I guess I would go Larson there. No problem, PMJ. Thank you for being here. Good luck, Marie. I think we're good. We got all the questions out. We did this in like exactly an hour, so very efficient today. Very efficient. But I wish you all the best of luck. If you have any questions, join the Discord, tweet at me, comment on the video, and hopefully I'll see them. But wish you all the best of luck. Good luck to Martinsville today. Last question here for Travis. Chastain and Stenhouse okay for cash? I would not go Stenhouse personally. Would rather play McDowell or Burton, I think. Stenhouse is just pushing it for me. All right, best of luck. See y'all next time.